Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dimitrios Ioannis Kalfas. I'm one of the engineering team leaders of Argo Navis. And in this presentation, we'll do our best to try to explain the reasons behind the retrofit bottleneck of 2019. We'll talk about the problems it causes to owners and to all involved market stakeholders. And of course, we'll propose what can be done about it now. Let's start with something that you're probably all familiar with, rules and regulations. We had long discussions in the first panel. We're going to do this briefly. So, first of all, the Ballast Water Management Convention entered into force on the 8th of September 2017. This means that all ships must meet the D2 standards. They must be retrofitted by the first IOPP approval after the 8th of September 2019. Additionally, IMO has granted basic approval to 58 systems and final approval to 42. On the other hand, US Coast Guard has granted type approval to 16 different systems so far. All vessels entering the US ports should have a US Coast Guard type approval already system installed. What you see here is the most updated list of US Coast Guard approved systems, 16 in total. You'll notice that before the end of 18, there was a frenzy of type approvals. Let me elaborate a bit on that. In this slide, you can see that the type approval frenzy peaked in 2018. Within a space of just 6 months, 8 ballast water treatment systems were approved by the United States Coast Guard, while before that, you see a dead period of 6 months with 0 approval. I'm sure that we all agree that any other major engineering project, a ballast water treatment system retrofit project, is a major undertaking. It needs to be cost-effective, perfectly planned, and executed with quality in mind. There are a number of steps that we need to be completed for the ballast water treatment system retrofit, or any retrofit for the matter to be successful. The more time you focus on completing each step correctly, you'll get fewer of those unwelcome surprises down the line in the shipyard. Here we've listed 15 important steps that lead up to the ballast water treatment system preparation stage. That's a lot of steps, I agree with you. It's not surprising then that a proper ballast water treatment system installation needs a long time to be completed. So what I would like to do is to break down the numbers for you. Let's say, for example, we started scanning the market in the beginning of 2009, and eventually we found a great time and place to scan the vessel, and that will be in March. The feasibility study that follows will be completed in May. Then immediately the placement of the order of the selected system should take place. Then another 2 to 3 months are needed to submit class drawings, and we find ourselves at the end of July. The engineering study with the detailed drawings and technical specification will be delivered to the client on August. This is 3 months before the equipment will be delivered to the awarded yard approximately on November. So, final step is installation and commissioning. Will require approximately more or less 20 to 30 days to be completed. As we see, the duration of a typical ballast water treatment system retrofit installation requires 8 to 10 months from the maker's selection to the vessel's arrival at the shipyard. But if you think that's a long time, things have been complicated further by the addition of scrubber retrofits. In 2016, the IMO and its Marine Environmental Protection Committee set 2020 rather than 2025 as a date for ships to comply with low sulfur fuel oil requirements. In 2017, there was still time. Scrubber makers received multiple requests, but almost 0 orders. It took at least 1 year, even more, for ship owners to be persuaded that compliant fuel will be both expensive and unreliable, at least for the first year or couple of years following the sulfur cap. Then, in the first half of 2018, scrubber orders were placed in mass, with installations scheduled even at the same year. The fourth quarter of 2018 saw a frenzy of scrubber orders as well. So, September deadline to install a ballast water treatment system is just around the corner. US Coast Guard extensions are either expiring or not being granted. Consequently, a very large number of ships needs to be in compliance soon. At the same time, scrubber installation, planning and retrofitting time has been shortened for 1.5 reasonable years down to barely feasible 3 to 4 months. This has led to an appropriation of valuable resources, from engineering teams to classification societies, and with all reserves and contingency plans exhausted. Scrubbers haven't just come in a bad time, they heard the installation means that the quality is taking a back seat. So, one way to deal with this unpleasant situation is to do at least the minimum necessary planning. We need to compromise, of course, but we need to plan. We must never forget that the engineering spiral process. It starts with the development of the basic design, it then progresses in cooperation with the technical management, and finally, detailed drawings and technical specification must be approved by class. Keeping in mind that during the retrofit process, there are a lot of factors that can cause delays. We'll call these delays planning pain points. First pain point will be class approval. EGC, or ballast water treatment system, is not yet a routine process. Class members in the audience will agree with me that these retrofits create a new engineering challenge. Classification societies face an unexpected workload. A second point is that some owners decide to purchase all of the items in advance in order to reduce the retrofitting cost. While doing so, they are risking mistaken or delayed deliverables. Needless to say, of course, that this might be the perfect excuse for the shipyard to delay the retrofit. Speaking of shipyards, it is estimated that approximately 300 Cape-size bulk carriers, VLCCs, and Suezmax tankers are going to install a scrubber. This will consequently increase the dry docking dates by at least 15 per installation for each vessel. This will evidently lead to an increase of shipyard dry dock days, 3,000 to 3,500. This is our estimation. I think it's safe to say that in 2019, shipyards will be celebrating the year of retrofit. Now, last point is we should never underestimate the required transportation of equipment. EX works to the shipyard and local authorities as well as custom requirements. For example, we had a European ballast water treatment system maker and a ship owner that decided to do the installation in China. We had a case that the ship owner selected the Chinese shipyard 1 week before the arrival of the vessel. You understand that this did not leave enough time for the equipment to reach the shipyard. Sometimes we have even seen, and this is not sometimes, this is a lately issue we always see, equipment transported by air, which led to additional cost, jeopardizing the overall budget of the project. I understand what we have just pointed out, it's not something new to you, but having outlined all of the above, I cannot stress enough how valuable proper planning is. Even if we don't seem to find enough time to plan, we need to focus at least on 2 things. Make sure the engineering doesn't take a back seat during the retrofit installation, and keep an eye on pain points and manage your schedules effectively, given the limited time. We need to plan. Some things about Argo Navis to close up. Over the last 4 years, we at Argo Navis have completed numerous 3D scanning and surveys on various types of vessels. We have completed more than 120 feasibility studies of 15 different ballast water treatment systems for different ship designs. We have concluded more than 70 engineering studies of 4 different ballast water treatment system makers under 5 different classification societies. And last, we have contributed to 40 successful installations, ballast water treatment system all worldwide, with 2 more ongoing on 10 shipyards. Over the last years, Argo Navis has grown to more than 50 people with offices in 2 countries. This is a image from Posidonia 2018. This is half of our team. The other half was working in retrofitting. So thank you very much for your time. We're open, of course, to questions.